Hello everyone, welcome to free crash course for competitive exams held by Virat Hindustan Sangam in association with Manifest IAS Bengaluru. This program is inspired by Dr. Subramaniam Swamy, Rajya Sabha MP, and also it is convened by Sri Ravi Shankar Sir, State Education Convener for VHS Karnataka and also the President of Good Neighbors India NGO. So I am the Chief Mentor of your program. I have the experience of mentoring civil service aspirants for past 5 years. So this program covers the entire gist of all the topics, all the syllabus for every competitive exams, that is polity, history, economy and everything. So now we are negotiating the economy part. It's taking bit time because I have to explain a lot of concepts. So under economy, the source for your Indian economy is Sriram Srirangam. Sriram Srirangam is the best source for your Indian economy if you are studying in English, right? Okay. So you can watch this entire program online on the YouTube channel of Virat Hindustan Sangam and also on the YouTube channel of Udaya News Karnataka. So these are the two channels where it will be telecasted. So for further queries, mentoring, guidance, any doubts, you can contact us directly on the VHS Education Forum. For all the information regarding every competitive exams, you can contact us on VHS Space Education Space Forum on Telegram channel. This forum is created on Telegram channel. You can search there and join the group, right? Okay, let us begin the class. So yesterday we were discussing the balance of payment. So what do you mean by balance of payment? Balance of payment is the difference between the total inflows and outflows. If the inflows is more, right, it is a positive. If the outflows is more, it is negative. Right? Okay. So it consists of two accounts. One is current account and capital account. Capital account consists of investment and borrowing. Current account mainly consists of trade, factor income, remittances and other things. So these are the things, right? Okay. So with respect to internationalization of rupee, I discussed the concept of internationalization of rupee yesterday. Today we will focus on the international currency. If a currency has to be called as an international currency, if a currency has to be branded as an international currency, what is the need? The first need is the country's economy should be strong. Whichever country's economy it is there, that particular country's economy should be strong. Its macroeconomic fundamentals should be strong, and there should be good amount of exports. There should be political stability. All these reasons count to act as a factors for the for rupee to act as a international or any currency to become an international currency. There are a lot of prerequisites. Prerequisite means what? There should be proper foundation. Only upon this foundation, the particular currency can become an international currency. So what are the prerequisites? The economy in concern should be integrated. It should not be isolated. It should be integrated with the entire world. That is the first prerequisite. Then you have macroeconomic fundamentals. I told you inflation, interest rate or savings, all these things, right? All these things should be proper and there should be no non-performing assets. All those things should be strong. Then only the macroeconomic fundamentals will be strong. Apart from that, that currency should be a global hard currency. See, there are two types of currency. One is soft currency, another is hard currency. Which is a hard currency? That currency which is stable. The exchange rate of that currency doesn't vary frequently. It is stable. That is a hard currency, right? It is stable as well as liquid. That particular currency should be stable in first place and there should be lot of liquidity. Then that particular currency can be called as a hard currency. Apart from that, Indian rupee internationalization. What have we done to internationalize the Indian rupee? The first thing we have done is to issue masala bonds. I have spoken about the topic of masala bonds in detail earlier. So issuing masala bonds internationalizes the rupee. Why? Because whatever the dollar debt we are taking, that would be repaid back in Indian rupee. So what does it make? It makes the Indian rupee famous across the world. That is the first point. Then currency swap. There is a concept of currency swap. It is very, very important. What is currency swap? It means, see, we are going to take a, for example, we have currency swap agreement with Japan. What does it mean? Japan has given us 75 billion yen, $75 billion of money Japan has given us. So we can utilize this money whenever we want. In turn, what should India do? India should give Indian rupee to Japan or in the form of loan whenever they want, right? So this is the concept of currency swap. It doesn't mean we are going to give currency and they are going to give us their currency. No, they have given us dollars. We have to set aside some money for Japan. Whenever Japan demands for any investment, for anything, then we should give Indian rupee or the dollar itself, right? We have to return it. So that is the concept of currency swap. So what are the challenges to internationalize the rupee? Rupee, in order to become famous across the world, what are the challenges? The first challenge is global trade share. I told you in merchandise share, our share is just 1.7%. In services trade, our share is just 4%. So our global trade share is very, very less. That is one concern. Apart from that, convertibility. See, rupee is not convertible. That also makes internationalizing the rupee a difficult task, right? Okay. Next, we will look at the currency swap agreements. So this currency swap agreements means what? See, I told you, Japan has given us $75 billion, right? So $75 billion, if we can use it for any purpose, or if Japan says use it for infrastructure, you can use it for infrastructure. That is there. But we have to repay the money in a fixed exchange rate. See, it means what? Today the exchange rate is 75 rupees, right? 75 rupees per dollar, right? So if we take $75 billion, even if the currency appreciates later or depreciates, even if rupee becomes 85 rupees per dollar, later on we will be giving just 75 rupees per dollar under currency swap. We will not be giving any more money or less money. So there is a fixed exchange rate under currency swap agreement. There is a fixed exchange rate. Apart from that, this is done between the central banks. So between the central banks, between which central banks? Between the Central Bank of India and the Central Bank of Japan, there is a agreement of currency swap, right? Then we have borrowing central bank sells and buys. So what does it do? This borrowing central bank sells the currency, that is Indian Central Bank, that is Reserve Bank, sells Indian rupee. In turn, it buys the what? It buys the Japanese yen, or in this case, Japan has given us what? The dollar. They have given $75 billion of money, right? So pays interest. They pay interest, right? So when India takes $75 billion from Japan, for that we are paying interest to Japan, right? We are paying interest to Japan. So Japan is a country. Next, RBI in turn obliged to provide loan. I told you, immediately we are not going to give currency. Immediately we are not going to give rupee to Japan. Rather, what we do, we are obliged to provide loan. Whenever Japan wants loan, we have to provide them loan with the Indian denomination only, right? So what are the uses? What are the uses of currency swap agreement? See, under currency swap, we are getting $75 billion, right? That can be used to curb speculation. I have told you already what is speculation. Speculation is guessing in the market, investing based on wild guesses, right? That is actually disastrous for the economy. So it can be used to curb the speculation. Then if there is currency swap, we will have what? Stable Forex, foreign exchange. There will be proper foreign exchange will be there. Apart from that, it is going to increase the inflows. The money that is going to come into India, that is inflow will increase, right? Because of the currency swap agreement. Then we can use it. We have done a currency swap agreement. There is a proposal to be done with SAARC, South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation. How many countries? 8 countries. That comes under your international relations. Apart from that, we have done it with UAE, United Arab Emirates. We have done the currency swap agreement. So pay import in respective currency. With respect to UAE, what we do? If we import from UAE, or actually it is the other way around, UAE imports from India and they are going to pay in their own currency, not in dollars, right? So That is the concept of currency swap agreement, which means currency exchange, right? So Japan gives us money, we are going to pay interest, and then whenever Japan wants, we will pay loan. That is the concept of currency swap agreement. Then we have the concept of exchange rate. I have told you exchange rate, market exchange rate, and various others exchange rate. So exchange rate was depreciated. Depreciated means due to COVID pandemic, the exchange rate came down. See, there are two concepts. One is devaluation, another is depreciation. Devaluation means what? If the particular central bank or government brings down the value of currency, or increases or gives more rupees to per dollar, then the currency is depreciated or devalued. If the RBI, the central government, does, it is devalued. But if the currency gets less value based on market forces, based on supply and demand principle, then it is called depreciation. Market force, depreciation, government does, it is devaluation. This is the difference, right? Then trade war, exchange rate is dependent on trade war, right? If there is trade war, definitely currency is going to depreciate, right? Oil prices, if oil prices increase, crude oil, Brent trade. So there are actually two indices. One is Brent crude. Brent crude is one. Brent crude, if with respect to crude oil, there is only two indices. One is Brent crude, the other one is West Texas Intermediate. West Texas Intermediate. These two are the indices with respect to the crude oil. Apart from that, exchange rate, so it is dependent on US rate. US rate means what? If US increases the interest rate. See, earlier US was doing what? US was doing quantitative easing. What do you mean by quantitative easing? Means US used to provide the loans at very less interest, 1 or 0.5 rupees, right? Later on, now US has increased the interest rate, because of which the currency exchange rate is hampered. Apart from that, exchange rate depends on growth of the economy. If the economy is growing good, then exchange rate will appreciate. It is not going to depreciate, it is going to appreciate. Appreciate means what? What is appreciation and depreciation? So if for $1, if we are now, let's say 75 rupees, if for $1, if it becomes 85 rupees, then currency has depreciated. For $1, let's say it becomes 65 rupees. So then we say currency has appreciated. Means what? For $1 earlier, the 85 rupees used to come. Initially 75 rupees. But later 85 rupees, more money, means value of rupee is depreciated. But later, after that, for $1, if we get just 65 rupees, then it means currency appreciated, right? Okay. So depends on growth and also the potential of economy, whether the economy is potential enough to grow. Indian economy is said to be by 2025 is going to achieve what? $5 trillion economy. So depends on the potential of economy and also the trade potential, whether the country is eligible to trade. So based on the trade potential also, the exchange rate will whether the export and import numbers are good. Dependent on that also, trade potential will the exchange rate will get determined. Apart from that, inflation. If the inflation is high, what happens? What is the connection between inflation and exchange rate? See, if the inflation is high, means the prices are high. It means currency depreciates. It is an inverse proportion, inverse relationship. So currency depreciates. Why currency depreciates? See, there is a price rise. For example, earlier for $1, there used to be one apple used to come, one for $1, right? Suddenly there is inflation, and for one apple takes $2. $2. So with respect to what? So let's say we'll take it in Indian rupees, then it is easy to understand. See, earlier let's say 1 kg of apple was 100 rupees and the exchange rate was $1 is equal to 100 rupees. Let's assume that. Later on 1 kg of apple becomes what? 150 rupees. 150 rupees means what? Earlier $1 used to buy 1 kg of apple. Now $1 buys less than 1 kg of apple, right? So it means what? The currency, value of currency has depreciated, right? Okay. Then Forex. So exchange rate also depends on Forex, means foreign exchange. If we have more gold reserves, more dollars, and also more foreign currencies, more SDRs, more foreign investments, right? Foreign bonds. So then the exchange rate will be good. Then interest rate, whatever the interest rate that the bank, central bank will give loan to, that is repo rate or reverse repo rate. Based on that also exchange rate is determined. Like exchange, for example, repo rate is low. Repo rate low means what happens? There will be huge supply in money. When there is huge supply in money, there is inflation, then currency depreciates, right? So there is a link. Apart from that, monetary policy means the policy formed by the Reserve Bank. For example, the inflation targeting or repo open market operation, also the repo rate and reverse repo rate. All these things, monetary policy will get impacted. Monetary policy will impact the exchange rate. Apart from that, twin deficit. Twin deficit means what? One is the balance sheet of bank. Another is, so that is double balance sheet problem. Twin deficit is the current account deficit plus fiscal deficit. If there is current account deficit, that is current account, for love you understand, trade deficit, that is more imports less exports. When there is current account deficit, when there is fiscal deficit, if both these deficits are there, then it is called twin deficit. When twin deficit is there, what happens? The exchange rate will get hampered. Now rupee now is completely floated. See, earlier the rupee was managed. Rupee was called as pegged currency. Pegged currency means what? Rupee exchange rate was determined by the RBI. Now it is not a pegged currency, it is completely floated. What do you mean by completely floated? It means the price of the rupee is determined by the market forces, right? So it is floated. Means what? Floated means floating, teluvike. So with the market, if the market forces go up, rupee appreciates. If the market forces go down, rupee depreciates. So it is completely floated. Now rupee is not managed. Nobody manages the rupee. It is free. Then or semi-managed. It is not even semi-managed. Semi-managed means, so managed means completely managing. That is China's currency. Semi-managed means managing at specific times. When rupee depreciates, then coming into picture, or rupee appreciates too much, then coming into picture. So that is managed exchange rate. So semi-managed exchange rate. So rupee today is not managed, it is not semi-managed. So RBI just manages instability. Whenever there is instability means what? So today rupee is 75 rupees, $1 is 75 rupees, then suddenly it becomes 150 rupees. That is too much depreciation at once. So that is instability, right? So in those conditions, the RBI will pitch in. Otherwise, RBI has nothing to give and take with respect to rupee, right? Okay. Then you have devaluation and depreciation. I have already discussed what is devaluation. Devaluation done by the Reserve Bank, depreciation by market forces, right? Both are meaning the currency value loses. So till 1992, we had fixed exchange rate. RBI used to fix the exchange rate till 1992, right? It was $1 is equal to 20 rupees, right? Now we have floating rate. I have told you already what is floating rate. Then we devaluated, right? So devaluation means depreciation of currency by RBI. Revaluation means appreciation of currency by the RBI. If RBI appreciates the currency, then it is called as revaluation. Next you have market forces. Market forces, depreciation and appreciation, right? So devaluation and revaluation is related to, if the RBI does it, it is devaluation and revaluation. If market forces do it, it is depreciation and appreciation. Okay, then what are the effects? What are the effects of the depreciation or appreciation? It has an effect on export. If the currency depreciates, the exports increases because the same dollar fetches more money, so more exports could be done. So exports, it has an effect on exports. It has an effect on foreign portfolio investment. See, if the rupee rate is depreciated, if the rupee rate is depreciated, more and more money will come into India, that is foreign portfolio investment. Then remittance increases. Remittance increases means what? The Indian origin people depositing money in India, that remittance will increase. Apart from that, the imports are going to, if the currency depreciates, imports are going to what? Imports are going to reduce because imports will become costly. Rupee was 75 rupees, now it becomes 100 rupees. So the same, if we have to buy the oil, the same oil is costlier. So imports are hampered. Apart from that, loans. So with respect to devaluation and depreciation, it has an effect on loans, right? How does it affect the loans? See, if the currency is depreciated, there is lot of supply of money. In turn, what happens? Foreign money, lot of supply of foreign money. In turn, what happens? The banks will reduce the interest rate. So loans will become cheaper. Right? With respect to foreign money, right? Okay. Apart from that, inflation increases. Inflation increases with respect, when the rupee depreciates, inflation increases because there will be lot of money. Sorry, with respect to interest rate, when there is more money, I think the loans interest rate will increase, right? So that is there. Apart from that, with respect to inflation, if there is more money, if the rupee depreciates, more and more foreigners are going to invest in India and the prices will pick up. Inflation is hampered. Apart from that, fiscal deficit will increase. Why? Because India has borrowed the money, it has to repay the money, so the fiscal deficit will increase because it has to give more rupees for the same dollars. Which it had borrowed from outside, more rupee has to be given, right? Okay, then import intensity of exports, Indian exports. What do you mean by import intensity of Indian exports? See, import intensity of Indian export means, we are importing what? Gems, raw gems, right? And precious stones and metals, and also we are importing crude oil, right? So what do? We are going to refine this and export, right? So whatever the exports are doing, that is based on import. First we import them, then we refine and export. That is called import intensity. Means what? How much Indian exports are dependent on import. How much percentage of Indian exports are dependent on import, right? If the intensity increases, it hurts. Because why? Because imports will become costlier. If imports become costlier, exports also become costlier, the demand will fall. That is why it is going to hurt the economy, right? Next we have J curve. So this is with respect to balance of payment, BOP. What is J curve? Balance of payment with respect to time. See, first depreciation happens, right? When depreciation happens, what happens first? When currency depreciates, 75 rupees Indian currency becomes 85 rupees. What happens? Immediately our imports will become costly. Imports will become costly. So when imports become costly, our trade deficit will increase. Exports ge initially effect agala, it will take some time, right? So imports will become costly. Essential imports, petroleum, gems, all those things will become costly, and therefore what happens? There will be trade deficit. When there is trade deficit, there is balance of payment deficit. So the curve will be like this initially, but later on what happens? With time what happens? Since the currency is depreciated, the exports will pick up. For the same dollar, more products are coming, exports will pick up. After that what happens? Since imports become costlier, imports gradually get reduced. So the reverse happens, a self-stabilizing mechanism, after which what happens? After which the currency will, the balance of payment will become positive. The balance of payment, BOP, will become positive. First there will be deficit, when there is increased imports, no more payment for imports, but gradually import reduces, export increases because of currency depreciation, and the curve will become like this in the form of J. So the balance of payment will become surplus. So this is called J curve. Trade deficit first worsens. First it worsens, later it is going to increase. There will be trade surplus. This is the concept of J curve. Then you have what? Effects of appreciation. If the currency appreciates, or when does the currency appreciate? The currency appreciates when there is booming economy. When the economy is growing too much. There is a appreciating currency. Apart from that, when here borrowers gain. Why? See, so some person has borrowed $100 of loan. Right? For which he has converted it into 7,500 rupees. Right? 7,500 rupees. What happens? The currency appreciates. So it becomes, currency becomes 65. So if he has to repay the loan, he has to just repay 6,500 to repay $100. So the appreciation is going to help the borrowers. So imports will, if the currency appreciates, it will have a positive impact on imports. How? See, $1 used to be 75 rupees. Currency appreciates 65 rupees. So we can buy the dollar more easily. So we will import more. Import will be impacted. Inflation. How does the appreciating currency impacts the inflation? Actually, since the import is increased, actually there will be what? Rising inflation or reduced inflation? See, when there is currency depreciates, the inflation will rise. The currency depreciates, inflation will rise. But when the currency appreciates, what happens? Inflation will reduce. Why? Because suppose, let's say we were importing crude oil. We are importing. Earlier we were paying just for, let's say, 1 liter, $1, we were paying just 75 rupees. Now we are paying just 65 rupees for importing 1 liter. So obviously the prices have fallen, right? So inflation decreases. Apart from that, there will be competition for the industry. There is competition. Why? When the currency appreciates. So imports will be rising. When imports rises, what happens? It will compete with the local goods. So the industry has to compete with foreign goods. Competition increases. Then currency mechanism. What are the mechanisms? First, I told you, as I told you, there is fixed exchange rate. Government or RBI is going to fix the exchange rate, and then thereafter it won't be changed. That is fixed exchange rate mechanism. Then you have floating exchange rate, floating with changes with market forces. Apart from that, there is indirect control. See, directly controlling the currency is direct control, whereas that is fixed exchange rate. So indirectly impacting the currency. How? Increasing the Forex reserve, changing the inflation rate, reducing the inflation, changing the interest rate, right? Increasing exports. All these things will have a impact on currency in an indirect control. Indirect control is always good. Then you have the concept of dirty float. Dirty float means what? See, I told you Indian currency is completely floated. It is completely floated in the market. Whereas actually it is called dirty float. Means what? So whenever there is a crisis or instability, RBI is going to intervene. Apart from that, RBI manages the currency to attain goals. RBI will, though it doesn't say that it is going to manage, but it has specific goals to attain. Reduce poverty, reduce hunger, right? And increase employment, increase housing facility. So because of all these things, increase the export potential. Because of all these things, RBI carries out a not directly, indirectly, it will manage. That is called dirty float, dirty floating, right? So then you have pegged system. Pegged system means what? A local currency will be linked with the foreign currency. A local currency will be linked with the foreign currency. Let's say Sri Lankan currency. It will be linked to dollar. Right? Why does it? Why is it linked? See, it doesn't mean that dollar increases, Sri Lankan rupee increases. No. So it shows that it impacts. It will impart stability. It brings stability to the local currency. So earlier, for example, Sri Lankan currency is, let's say, is volatile. It is increasing, decreasing so much. But we will peg it or fix it with the US dollar. US dollar only this much. This rupee we are going, Sri Lankan currency we are going to give. That is called pegged currency, pegged system. Apart from that, crawling peg. What is crawling peg? So we are going to fix a rate, right? Let's say $1 is equal to 80 rupees. So now let's say the rupee is 70 rupees. So it will not directly go to this target. Slowly it is going to reach the 80 rupees. So this is called crawling. Ambegal itkondi hogute. That is crawling peg, right? Apart from that, there is currency meltdown. The concept of currency meltdown. Currency meltdown means the currency loses its value. Even if you pay 1 crore rupees, you won't be able to buy 1 pound of bread. That is, the currency has lost its value. That has happened in Germany post First World War. That is during Great Economic Depression, right? Okay. Currency meltdown. This is the concept of currency meltdown. Then you have currency board. Currency board manages the currency. Currency board, it is going to look after the currency. What does this currency board do? It is a monetary authority. It looks after the money. Currency board is a monetary authority. It looks after the money, right? Currency. Then it controls money supply. How much rupee is going to available in the market. How much rupee is available in the market? That is controlled by the currency board. Apart from that, you have this example of Argentine peso case. Argentine peso case. What is Argentine peso case? See, earlier Argentine peso was floated. It was floated. What happens? Suddenly the Argentine currency is called peso. It will depreciate. Why it depreciates? So all the foreign money which was invested in Argentina, all the foreign money invested in Argentina is taken back. It goes back out of the country. Suddenly the currency depreciates. It is going to depreciate. When the currency depreciates, what happens? So Argentina, what does it do? It is going to bring in a currency board. So what does this currency board do? It fixes the exchange rate. It fixes the exchange rate at a particular rate. That is the function of the currency board, right? Next you have real value of rupee. What is the real value of rupee. We have nominal effective exchange rate, NEER rate, NEER rate. It means nominal effective exchange rate. Means what? So this is the nominal means what? That exchange rate which is impacted by the inflation. The exchange rate which is impacted by the inflation is called the nominal effective exchange rate, right? So inflation in the what is the exchange rate is impacted, and that is called the nominal effective exchange rate. All this is the official exchange rate. Today we see dollar is 75 rupees or British pound is 101 rupee. So that official exchange rate is nominal effective exchange rate. Then you have real exchange rate. Real effective exchange rate. What that is? REER. Real effective exchange rate. In the nominal effective exchange rate, if you remove the inflation, how much currency has appreciated or appreciated because of inflation. If we remove the inflation part, we will get the real effective exchange rate. We will get real effective exchange rate. So this is inflation adjusted. Then you have the third thing is, the third currency mechanism is purchasing power parity. I have told you the concept of Big Mac index. What is Big Mac index or purchasing power parity? I have told you earlier. See, we will understand it with Big Mac index. We have McDonald's, right? McDonald's has Mac burger. So this Mac burger, let's say in USA it sells for $10. $10, right? In India it is selling for, let's say, 150 rupees, right? So how much? So actual exchange rate is what? $1 is 75. So here we are getting the burger for just $2. There it is $10. So actual exchange rate is $2, but nominal exchange rate is this much. So if the same $2 is going to buy the same burger which $10 buy in USA. So since McDonald's is an international food chain, so they are going to compare this rate on an unofficial scale. That is Big Mac index. That is the concept of purchasing power parity. That is how much power the currency has. How much power the currency has in order to purchase some products. That is purchasing power parity. Apart from that, we have concept of overvaluation, undervaluation and currency wars. Overvaluation means what? If the currency is highly estimated, if the currency is valid just 60 rupees, if we estimate it 100 rupees, that is overvaluation. Undervaluation, if the currency is 75 rupees, if we estimate it as 45 rupees, that is undervaluation. Then we have currency wars, concept of currency wars. What is currency war? So, see, this USA and China, they are facing this trade war. Why are they facing this trade war? China is a currency manipulator. Why does China manipulate its currency? It is going to depreciate its own currency or devalue its own currency. Why? China wants to devalue its own currency, right? So, see, China, we have yuan, Chinese yuan or renminbi. Renminbi. So, what happens? If $1, I don't know the exchange rate, let's say if $1 is 50 yuan, 50 yuan. So, $1 is buying 50 yuan but the Chinese central bank devalues the currency. So, 50 yuan ali, let's say one mango is coming. So, Chinese central bank devalues the currency to 100 yuan. $1 is 100 yuan. So for the same $1, we are getting two mangoes, right? So what will happen? The export of mangoes will increase. Export of mangoes will increase. That is why, in order to increase the exports from China, China is engaged in currency war. So China reduces the currency. When China reduces, all the other countries will be forced to reduce. Because of why? If they don't reduce their currency value, what will happen? They will lose their export share. All the export share will go to China, right? So all the countries will follow suit and reduce the currency rate, right? Okay. Next you have the concept of Forex reserve. So what is Forex reserve? What all does it include? One is a foreign currency. Forex reserve involves the foreign currency. First thing, that is what? Dollar. Majority dollar, yen, pound, euro, all these things. Then Forex reserve involves gold. And you have SDR. Which is the currency of SDR? Which organization? SDR is the currency of which organization? SDR is the currency of IMF. IMF currency, special drawing rights, right? It is not a physical currency, right? So IMF currency is SDR. Apart from that, we have IMF reserve. That is what money we have kept with the IMF. That acts as a reserve. So all these contribute to the Forex reserve. All these things contribute to the Forex reserve, right? Then you have IMF quota. What is IMF quota? See, some country becomes a member of IMF, International Monetary Fund, Bretton Woods institution. Which are the two Bretton Woods institutions? World Bank, IMF. So IMF becomes the member of, or some country becomes the member of IMF. What happens? That country will be allotted a quota. Means what? Quota means they have to give some money to the IMF. Some money they have to give to the IMF. What kind of money it is? That money involves what? That money involves special drawing rights. Special drawing rights is the IMF currency, an IMF official currency. Then also it involves reserve currency, right? Apart from that, it involves own currency as well. So IMF quota, every country has to maintain some reserve with IMF. That reserve is SDR, foreign currency, plus own currency. It includes three currencies which will form the International Monetary Fund quota. Every country will be allotted one quota. According to that quota, voting rights will be given in IMF for the countries. So it includes SDR, reserve currency, and own currency. Reserve currency, it is foreign currency, any foreign currency. So quota and reserve tranche position. What is reserve tranche position? Quota. So in the quota, if there is only reserve currency, if we hold only reserve currency as part of IMF quota, then it is called reserve tranche position. Reserve tranche position, only holding the reserve currency. So dollar could be a reserve currency. Apart from that, RBI is diversifying its resources. Why? See, earlier RBI used to hold just dollars or some currencies. Now it is holding many different types of currencies, right? So it is diversifying its Forex reserve. Next, we have, with respect to Forex reserve, what are the things? We have dollars, we have SDR, special drawing rights of IMF. So special drawing rights is you just understand it as currency of the IMF. Just like dollar is the currency of USA, SDR is the currency of IMF. It is not a fiscal currency. Andre, you don't find any notes of SDR, right? There will be one document which says that India holds this much SDR. It will be signed and stamped by the IMF, right? So SDR, India holds SDR, that is India's Forex. India holds gold, this much kg of gold, that also forms the Forex. Apart from that, India holds foreign exchange assets. Means what? Foreign exchange assets means India is going to invest some money in foreign bonds, which fetches the interest. That is, for example, USA sells the US treasury bonds. Those bonds are bought by Indian Reserve Bank of India. That is the foreign exchange assets. The bonds which are bought by RBI from foreign central banks are called foreign reserve assets, foreign exchange assets. So then you have revaluation gains. Revaluation gains. What is revaluation gain? See, you have an asset. Let's say you have an asset or some foreign asset. You own a foreign asset worth $100, which is 7,500 rupees. Right? Later on, the currency appreciates or currency depreciates. Currency $1 will become 90 rupees. 90 rupees. So, if you have $100, you have 9,000 rupees. $100 worth of asset, same asset, now is worth 9,000 rupees. So, the value of the asset increases, right? The value of the asset increases. That is the revaluation gain, right? Next, you have Forex reserve. Why India has to maintain Forex reserve? Foreign reserve exchange, Forex reserve, foreign reserve exchange. Foreign exchange, why India has to maintain? One is external account security. What is external account? You have current account and capital account. If we have to maintain the external account security, then Forex reserve is required. See, suppose there is current account deficit or capital account deficit. If we have foreign currency, what will happen? We can fill that deficit, right? The deficit is not going to hamper our economy or exports or imports. So, external account security ke Forex will help. Apart from that, essential imports, fuel, all those things are essential import. So, in order to import the essential items, Forex reserve is required, right? Apart from that, we have, it is against manipulation. Means what? We are holding now around approximately $700 billion of Forex reserve. So, against manipulation. See, China manipulates the currency. So, when China manipulates the currency, it will impact Indian rupee. But if we hold the Forex reserve, the Indian rupee will be insulated from the devaluation or currency manipulation, right? Then you have ratings. When you have proper Forex reserve, when you have more Forex reserve, the ratings will be high. Then globalization. So, more Forex reserve, the country will get interconnected with various countries across the world. So, when you have Forex reserve, it will help in the globalization. And you have import cover. Import cover means what? See, earlier import cover means without see, if there is some crisis and Forex reserve stop coming into India, there is a crisis and foreign currency stops coming to India. See, but we need foreign currency for importing essential goods, crude oil, all those things we need. So, what happens? So, what happens when the foreign currency inflow stops suddenly? We need essential imports, oil, all those things, medicines, all those things. So, what will happen? If we have Forex reserve, then it is going to help us import. Because foreign countries are not going to respect Indian rupee. Dollar they will respect. So, if we have Forex reserve, it will help us import the goods. You have the concept of Gulf War. During Gulf War, suddenly our forex reserve depreciated. Our import cover was very less. Very less. Import cover was very less. How much? We just had $1 billion of forex. Not even 1 billion. $0.9 billion. So our forex reserve was very less. Our import cover was very less. We had money just to buy 2 weeks of oil for the country, right? So that is import cover. So who is the top holder? Who is the top holder of forex? First, the top holder is China. China is the top holder. Second top holder is Japan. Third top holder is Switzerland. Fourth top holder is Hong Kong. India is 7th or 8th. Then we have currency war. I discussed already the concept of currency war. One country devaluates its currency in order to increase its export. Right? One country devaluates its currency, other countries will also competitively, they are going to competitively devalue the currency. So there is a war between the currencies. Nanu devalue martini, neenu devalue madu. So there is a devaluation war, that is currency war. Who gives this name? Currency war name is given by Guido Matenga. Guido Matenga is the person who gives the name currency war, right? Then why currency war? Why currency war? And there, see, expansionary monetary policy. What is expansionary monetary policy? The pumping more and more money into the economy by reducing the interest rate. Reserve Bank reduces the interest rate, repo rate, and pumps more and more money into the economy, right? That is expansionary. That is, money supply is expanding. That is expansionary monetary policy, right? So when in order to expand the market, in order to expand the money supply, currency war will take place. And also fixing rate. See, in currency war, generally the currency is not floated, it is fixed. When the currency, China fixes its currency so low that it exports are attractive. Then US has done quantitative easing. Quantitative easing means what? Quantitative easing is a method of expansionary monetary policy. Quantitative easing is a method of expansionary monetary policy. Right? Okay. It is a method of expansionary monetary policy. Andre, at very less rate, 0.5%, 1% interest rate ali, USA pumped lot of dollars into the economy. That is quantitative. Quantitative means quantity of money was eased. That is, lot of money was pumped into the economy. Right? Expansionary monetary policy. Adru mulkanu, it impacted the currency. It also accelerated the currency war. Right? Then you have currency manipulation. Whatever China does is currency manipulation. So it is what? It gives unfair global advantage. Audo alvo? Yes. When you manipulate your currency, your exports will become competitive. Isn't it an unfair trade advantage? Definitely it is an unfair trade advantage or global advantage. That is one thing. Then China keeps it low. India cannot keep it low. Why? See, China doesn't depend on imports. It has all the resources, most of the resources. But if India keeps its currency low, it will impact our imports. We cannot import oil and other essential medicines and other things, right? So we can neither overvalue our currency nor undervalue our currency. We have to manage our currency at a optimum level. That is, India manages its currency. Then you have beggar thy neighbor policy. Beggar thy neighbor policy. This is an important policy in the economic arena. Beggar thy neighbor policy. It means let your neighbor become beggar. Let your neighbor become beggar. I will be happy. Yaar engadru alagogli, I alone should be happy. So who follows this principle? China follows this principle. So let anyone around us die. Let them become beggars. Only I will survive. That is beggar thy neighbor policy. Why? How does it ensure? By devaluing its currency. It devalues its currency, it increases the exports. When exports are increased, what happens? When exports are increased, what happens? Lot and lot, the Chinese market, Chinese products are sold outside the country, right? So, what happens? The domestic industry of the local country will be hampered. Ella muchogutte. So that is beggar thy neighbor policy. Then response. So what is the response to China's currency manipulation? America started. America first. America first. What is America first, Andre? We have to procure only American goods, not Chinese goods. And we have to give employment only to Americans. That is American first policy started by Donald Trump, right? Okay. Next you have trade war. Trade war means what? All countries trying to increase their exports. That is one concept. Then imposing restriction on the imports of other countries. China imposed restriction. I mean USA imposed restrictions on Chinese goods. China in turn imposed restriction on USA goods. Right? So that is called as trade war. Even your Indian government banning Chinese apps, banning Chinese investment, or making the Chinese investment come via government route, automatic route, government route, making the investment come from via government route, which is difficult. That is also a concept of trade war, right? So all this also main concept is China in USA imposing ban on Chinese imports. That is trade war. Then 2019 USA named China as a currency manipulator. Official agi 2019 alli USA brands China as a currency manipulator anta anepatti kattutte, right? Okay. Next, holding currency. Holding currency is invested in government security. See, any country holding the currency, US dollar, they are not just going to hold the US dollars. What is the use of just holding the US dollar? If there is no profit out of it, what they do with the dollars? With the dollars, they are going to buy US Treasury securities. US Treasury securities, na US Treasury securities, they are going to buy. And these US Treasury bills will fetch very less interest, 1%, 0.5% interest they will give. But let it be there. At least 1% birthday. Just keeping the money in your bank, reserve bank, or investing it in government securities, you are at least getting 1%. So China, all the money, all the US dollars again flow back to USA, and USA issues this treasury bill by which it gives interest to foreign countries. So the loan, the rate at which USA takes loan is very, very less. Why? USA does lot of investment in defense, in infrastructure, in foreign investment. Why so much? Because if we have to raise foreign investment or foreign loans, we have to pay 4%, 5%, up to 10% interest. But see, USA issues treasury bills and takes money, dollars at just 1 rupee interest. So USA is raising foreign loans at very less interest rate. That is why it is able to invest in so many things, right? Next, we have global reserve currency. What is global reserve currency? See that global, see just decode this word. One is global, next is reserve currency. Around the world, what currency is held as a reserve by various countries? That is global reserve currency. So, dollar is a global reserve currency, right? So, that currency which is accepted internationally. If you go take dollar and give it to anybody, Somalis, Pakistanis, everybody will accept the dollar. But if you give rupee to foreigners, not many will accept. Pakistan, though, first of all, they will not accept. Right? So, that currency which is accepted internationally is called as global reserve currency. Yeah? Then it is a safe haven currency. Means what? You can safely invest it in that currency. There is no risk or very less risk. That is a global reserve currency. Dollar. Dollar constitutes 85% of foreign trading. If there is 100% of foreign trade that is taking place, 85% of the trade takes place in dollar. Right? Okay. Then you have hard currency and soft currency. What is hard currency? That currency I told you which is liquid, lot of liquidity and stable, that is hard currency. The opposite, that currency which is not liquid, very less supply and which is unstable, that is soft currency. See, hard currency there is lot of global demand, hard currency. Why? Because it doesn't change frequently and there is lot of money available. So what happens for that particular currency, that is dollar, pound, all these currencies, there is lot of demand globally. There is lot of demand. Flight of capital means what? See, some foreign country would have invested in, let's say, India. Some crisis happens within India. Some country attacks India. There is war. War with Pakistan. All these capital investment will go back outside the country. That is flight of capital. Bandavala hogodu vapas. That is flight of capital, right? Perception. Why does the flight of capital take place? If there is bad perception about the country, let's say we have bad perception about Pakistan because it is enrolled under FATF. Also, it is a state sponsorer of terrorism. So nobody will invest in Pakistan. Even if somebody has invested, they will take the capital and go outside. That is flight of capital, perception about the country. And also speculation. Speculation means what? The best example is Ukraine-Russia war. Just after the war took place, there is lot of guesses, doubts, right? Wild guesses, and the stock market collapse. That is speculation. Next, controls. If the government is going to increase control in the economy, if the government increases the control in various sectors of the economy, then also the capital is going to fly out of the country. Then policies. If the government policy is not favorable, then also capital is going to fly out. The best example is before 1991. But after 1991, the capital is coming into India, flying into India, because there is favorable government policy. Next, you have sovereign debt crisis. Sovereign debt crisis, and I have explained. Sovereign means what? Government. When the government itself takes the loan and fails to repay, then it is called sovereign debt crisis. The best example is Greece, and also your PIGS economy. Portugal, Ireland, Greece and Spain. PIGS economy, right? Okay, they are famous for the sovereign debt crisis. This is a vicious cycle. Vicious cycle means what? Self-reinforcing cycle. See, first the capital goes out. When the capital goes out, currency depreciates. When currency depreciates, why does currency depreciate when capital goes out? Because there is no confidence in the local currency. So when the money is taken out of the country, automatically the value of currency, Indian rupee, comes down. When more money comes into India, foreign money, value of rupee will increase, right? So there is the currency is going to depreciate. When currency depreciates, more investor will fear. They will fear their investment will go into losses. More of them is going to take the capital outside the country. So later it will, when the more of them take the capital out, it will depreciate further. Another some group will take the money out of India. So it is self-reinforcing. It will become a negative cycle, right? Vicious cycle. Then you have devalue. Devalue, when the currency is devalued, then when the currency is devalued, then also, see, when the currency is devalued, what happens? More capital is going to come into the country or more not? When the currency is devalued, then also capital will go out, because they have invested $100, let's say, that is 7,500 rupees. When currency is devalued, it will become 8,500 rupees, right? So when they devalue, actually flight of capital doesn't happen. When that is revaluation. See, obviously, right, when they invest $100, 7,500 rupees, and the currency or flight of capital devaluation happens, that is the currency will fall to 85 rupees. So the investment will become 8,500. So it is profit for them. Whereas flight of capital, it is opposite, right? Then you have inflation. When there is inflation, so it means flight of capital, currency will devalue and inflation will rise. When there is inflation, or the other hand, when there is more inflation, then also capital will go out of the country, because there is less belief in the economy. There is less belief in the economy, then capital will go out of the country. Then you have capital control. What is the concept of capital control? See, controlling the flow of capital. How capital is going to flow into the country, how capital is going to flow out of the country. Controlling that is called capital control, right? Bandwalana control madudu. Who does it? The central bank does the capital control. Central bank does the capital control. How does it will control the flow of foreign capital? How foreign capital comes into India, how does it go? Right? That is controlled by the central bank. How does it control? By imposing taxes. If there is less taxes in the country, obviously more capital will come into India. If there is less tax, if there is more taxes, then capital will not come into India. So that is capital control. Then if by capital control, stability of the economy could be ensured. See, if there is no capital control, what happens? The money will come and money will go automatically. It will hamper the economy. So capital control idaga, there is stability in the economy. This can be, capital control can be only for short term. Short term only, how does the money come and go? Monitoring, that is capital control. It is not a long term policy, right? Then you have the concept of dollarization. Dollarization means what? It doesn't mean the use of dollar. It means except apart from using local currency, if you use any foreign currency or more than your local currency, you trust any foreign currency, that is dollarization. Using other currency apart from your own currency or more than your own currency, if you are imposing trust in some foreign currency, then it is called dollarization, right? So it is currency substitution. So where do you see dollarization? Nepal, Bhutan, apart from their own currency, they hold Indian rupee as well. Indian rupee nu joteli itkodare. Even Mexico, in Mexico, not only Mexican currency, they hold dollar also. That is dollarization, right? Next you have currency substitution. Currency substitution andre, instead of local currency, some other currency will be used, foreign currency. If it is substituted half or not fully, in between, let's say 50% of the currency in local currency and 50% in foreign currency, it is called partial substitution. If all the local currency is substituted completely, then it is complete substitution. Complete substitution of local currency by foreign currency. Then you have sovereign wealth fund. The concept of sovereign wealth fund. What is sovereign wealth fund? See, sovereign means what? Sovereign means country or government. Country or government. Wealth means money. Fund. So, having the money, if the countries or the government hold money in foreign currency, they hold money in foreign currency. Let's say you have UAE, you have Saudi Arabia, they hold dollars, excessive of dollars. How do they get dollars, excess dollars? By exporting oil. By exporting oil, they have lot of dollars. So that constitutes the sovereign wealth fund, countries own wealth fund, right, in foreign currency. So it is actually held in foreign currency, mostly in US dollars. So who holds it on behalf of the government or the state? It is held by the central bank, right? So it will help in investment, right? So see, just keeping the money, just keeping foreign currency with you, what is the fun? It won't fetch you anything. Rather than you invest the foreign currency in some other country, you invest it in some other country, it will fetch you interest. If investment will get you profit, right? That is investment. So India needs sovereign wealth fund. Has India set up a sovereign wealth fund? No, because our foreign exchange is not sufficient for us only. But India is attracting sovereign wealth fund from Dubai, from Saudi, Qatar, all these countries. Next you have Dutch disease. Dutch disease. Dutch, which country is called Dutch? Netherlands. Netherlands is called as Dutch. So what happens? See, earlier, what is this Dutch disease means? In Dutch there was excess discovery of oil. So what happened? There was too much export of oil. There was too much export of oil from Netherlands, Dutch. When too much export happened, lot of foreign currency, dollar, came into India. Into Netherlands. So when lot of dollar came to Netherlands, what happened? When more currency, foreign currency comes into a country, what happens? The currency appreciates. Currency price will appreciate. When the currency price appreciates, that is, earlier let's say Netherlands currency for $1 was 100 rupees. Now it is 50 rupees. So earlier, let's say, apart from oil, the Dutch was exporting, let's say, what? Chocolates. So earlier, by giving $1, let's say one chocolate is 100 rupees, the person was, importer was getting only one chocolate. Now, when the currency appreciates, $1 is 50 rupees because more foreign currency is coming. So, $1 will fetch how much? 0.5 chocolates. So when chocolates come down, because of currency appreciation, because of more foreign currency coming into one country, the currency will appreciate. Because currency appreciates, when currency appreciates, what will happen? Exports will suffer. See, if for $1, if only 0.5 chocolate is available, who will take chocolates from Netherlands? Nobody is going to import chocolates from Netherlands. So Netherlands exports will suffer. This is Dutch disease. Declining of manufacturing. Because of export of only one product, the manufacturing and other industry were declined. Because more foreign currency came, the local currency appreciated, it impacted the exports. That is Dutch disease. So decline in manufacturing industry, right? So that is Netherlands oil, export of Netherlands oil. Forex comes, no export, other exports were hampered. Guilder, that is Netherlands currency is called guilder, it appreciated, right? So this is what happens when you export in one particular product. That is why we have to diversify our exports. That is, we have to export all possible products, not just one product, or else we will also face what? Dutch disease. Okay, this will end the biggest chapter, balance of payment. Balance of payment chapter is done. Next, whatever chapter comes, they are all easy chapters. The chapter on Indian agriculture, very interesting chapter. So, India is the largest producer of what? Milk, pulses, spices. India is the largest producer. Even jute. Milk, pulses, jute and spices. India is the largest producer in the world. And wheat, cotton and rice. Under these three products, India has the largest number of area. India has the largest number of area producing wheat, rice and cotton. Also, India is the second largest producer of wheat, rice, cotton and other products. Largest area in these terms, second largest producer in these and some other products, right? So, during first 5-year plan, during 1950s, agriculture contributed to 53% of our GDP. So, if our GDP was 100 rupees, 53 rupees used to come from agriculture alone, right? During independence. Now, so 72% of population during independence dependent on agriculture. 72% population dependent on agriculture during independence. Today, the GDP is, the agricultural contribution to GDP is how much? Just 17%. Manufacturing contribution is 25%. Service sector contribution is 55%. So today the GDP is 17%, but the number of people employed on 50% of Indian population. If we have 130 crore Indians, we have 65 crore Indians. We have 65 crore Indians employed in agriculture, right? So importance of agriculture, why agriculture is important. We have too much population, we have to feed all of them, right? Then there is no other employment opportunity. That is why agriculture is important. Then agricultural export, with respect to export, agriculture is important. What else is the importance of agriculture? So agriculture not only means growing of crops, rearing of animals in order to meet the protein needs of the society, meat, milk, fish, all these things. Apart from that, growing of horticulture, fruits and vegetables, right? That is why agriculture is important. Apart from that, to reduce hunger, to reduce malnutrition, to reduce wasting, stunting. All these are indicate the malnutrition, that is insufficient nutrition. So for all these reasons, agriculture is important. Agriculture is important, right? So food grain production, India food grain production is 284 million tons. Food grain, what are the food grains? Rice, wheat, tur dal, urad dal, all those things are food grains. Mainly rice, wheat, ragi, all those things. Oil seeds, what are oil seeds? Mustard, sunflower, castor, right? All these are sesame, all these are groundnut, all these are oil seeds. 72 million tons, 72 million tons. Then food deficit and surplus. what is food deficit? It means if we don't have sufficient food to eat, that is food deficit. If we have excess food to eat, that is food surplus. When did we have food deficit? Before Green Revolution. Before Green Revolution, India suffered from food deficit. Right? There was no food to eat. There was lot of famine, Bargala. Right? We had to import food from USA, import wheat from USA under PL 480 program. Under PL 480 program, India imported wheat from USA because of food crisis. Right? This program name is important. Food deficit, surplus means excess food. So how did we manage to produce surplus food? First, we used package technology. What is package technology? High yielding variety of seeds. High yielding variety seeds, proper irrigation, proper fertilizers, proper MSP, procurement. All these were given as a package to the the farmers, right? So, high yielding variety, we increase the irrigation, high yielding variety seeds and increase irrigation. So many dams, Sardar Sarovar, Bakra Nangal Dam, Mettur Dam, so many dams, Teri Dam, right? Hirakud Dam, so many dams were built. And storage, earlier there was no proper storage infrastructure. Now cold storage, dry storage, all this storage infrastructure is there. Then now today we have increased the marketing. We will discuss how we have increased the marketing. So we have increased the marketing also today. There is more provision for marketing agricultural goods today, right? More provision for marketing the agricultural goods, right? So economic reforms and agriculture. 1991 economic reform. Right? When Indian economy was opened, our agricultural exports increased. Agricultural exports from India was increased because there was lot of foreign exchange which came into India. Since it is an open economy, we could export our agricultural products to other countries. Then restriction removal. See, till then there was lot of restriction in the economy. Now the restrictions were agricultural exports, right? Also restriction with respect to production of various products, right? Restriction removal. Banks were restricted to lending, and there were so many market restrictions under APMC Act, Food Corporation India restrictions. So all those restrictions were done away with. Then genetically modified crops, GMO. So post 1991, we are experimenting in genetically modified crops. We have BT brinjal, BT cotton, BT mustard, biotechnology. Then we are providing subsidy which is actually World Trade Organization says, see, under World Trade Organization there is an agreement called Agreement on Agriculture, AOA. Agreement on Agriculture. Under this Agreement on Agriculture, there are 3 boxes: blue box, amber box, green box. So in green box alliro products alli there is subsidy can be given. Amber box, subsidy cannot be given. Blue box, it involves income support, right? Income support andre supporting the farmers to get more income, like providing what? Soil health card, providing good technology seeds, high quality seeds, Providing weather information, that is all income support. That comes under blue box. Green box, where subsidy is allowed. Amber box, where subsidy is not allowed. Right? Subsidy issue is there with respect to World Trade Organization. India says, World Trade Organization says, we are providing more and more amber box subsidy, which is not allowed anta WTO says. Then you have foreign portfolio investment. Sorry, not for FPI is, we have foreign food processing industry. What is food processing? See, you have groundnut. So you process that and make a chicky. That is, groundnut is processed into something else, right? That is food processing industry. As simple as that. So we have increased the food processing industries. Then we have contract farming. Contract, and there will be a contract between a buyer and agriculturist, farmer. So according to the contract, the products will be grown. Contract farming is increasing. It has increased. Then commodity exchange, I told you, right? Just like stock exchange, forward market commission merged into SEBI. We had commodity exchange. So commodity exchange is also there, right? Then you have agricultural success in India. What is the success of agriculture? This is the economic reforms post 1991. How has agriculture succeeded in India? The net sown area has increased. The sown area in the agriculture has increased. Right? Irrigation has increased. Alva. The irrigation, earlier the Indian agriculture was largely dependent on monsoon. Now it is very less, now also it is dependent, but not as much to the extent of earlier times. So irrigation has increased. Then land reforms. We have carried out lot of land reforms, right? Gramdan, Bhudan. Tiller is the owner of the land. Uluvavane Olladodeya. And also land this thing. There is a limit on land holding. Agricultural land holding limit is there. All these are land reforms have been implemented. Then high yielding variety seeds are used. High yielding variety seeds. Then fertilizers. There are various new fertilizers. Neem coated urea. Organic fertilizers are there. Then we have technology. We are implementing technology in agriculture sector. Right? Government initiatives. What are the initiatives? Government is providing urea subsidy. Subsidy to urea. Urea is what? It is a fertilizer. So for urea, government is providing subsidy. Right? Then you have agri-export policy. There is a how agriculture export will take place. For that, there is a policy formulated in 2018. It involves various sectors, various dimensions of agriculture. So, agri-export policy is there. Then you have PMFBY, Prime Minister Fasal Bima Yojana. What is it? It is a agricultural insurance. If you grow some crop, it will go damaged due to some insect or some floods or so many things, right? So there is insurance for that. Then you have soil health card. Earlier the farmers used to put any fertilizer they used to want. If somebody from the neighboring farm is putting some fertilizer, he will also go and buy the same fertilizer and put. He wouldn't know what is the fertilizer required for his soil. So now you have soil health card. It shows what is the kind of soil, how much nutrition is there, how much nitrogen fixation potential, what are the various minerals in it. So what kind of fertilizer is good and what kind of crop can be grown, how much moisture is required, how much irrigation is required. All these are given under soil health card. Then you have Agri Udan. What is Agri Udan? Under Agri Udan, It means agricultural export. So, agri-udanali there are export via air route. Also, there is also Kisan Rail, transporting via rail. So, two types, under two things, agri-udan is there. Then you have Prime Minister Krishi Sinchai Yojana. It is with respect to irrigation. There are four components of Prime Minister Krishi Sinchai Yojana. What are the four components? One is rainwater harvesting. Next is per drop, more crop. Next is, third one is watershed development. Fourth one is Har Khet Ko Pani. So these are the four components. Rainwater harvesting, you know, harvesting the rainwater. Per drop, more crop means for every drop there should be more crop. That is, then watershed development. It means taking the watershed. What is a watershed? See, you have to decode the word. Watershed. See, there is one area. See, let's say there are mountains around. Fully there are this area is covered by mountains. If water falls on this region, it will be within this region only, right? This is a watershed. This region is a watershed. Watershed development. Development of each and individual watershed, that is under PMKSY. Then you have Har Khet Ko Pani, means every farm should have water. So these are the components under PMKSY. Then you have Sampada scheme. Sampada scheme is related to what? Food processing industry. Very, very important. Sampada scheme, food processing industry. Then you have FDI in agriculture. FDI, foreign direct investment. Then you have Central Warehouse Corporation. Central Warehouse Corporation. Also you have Rail Warehouse Corporation. Rail Container Corporation of Container Rail Corporation Limited is there. Central Warehouse Corporation is there. What is a warehouse? It is where storage will take place, right? Then you have eNAM. eNAM portal. Agricultural, National Agricultural Market. That is from Karnataka. You can sell the products in Tamil Nadu or even in Nagaland. That is one nation, one market. National Agricultural Market is there. Then we have PM Asha. PM Asha scheme is there. Annadata Ay Sanrakshan Yojana. Annadata Ay Sanrakshan Yojana. So I'll discuss what is this scheme. It is an important scheme. There are three sub schemes under it. One is price support scheme. Then is pilot on private procurement. Pilot on private procurement and price deficiency payment scheme. Three components are there under PM Asha. I'll discuss all of them. Next you have PM Kisan. What is this PM Kisan? Every year they will give 6,000 rupees to farmers. That is PM Kisan scheme, right? These are the schemes with respect to agriculture by government. Next you have capital formation in Indian agriculture. Means bandwala hege ಶೇಖರಣೆ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ Indian agriculture ಅಲ್ಲಿ. How capital gets formed in Indian agriculture? Capital ಎಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಬರುತ್ತೆ? One, capital, how does it come? See, we increase the dams. It is a capital investment in agriculture, right? Increasing dams. Then you have proper roads. That is a capital investment because it helps in transporting agricultural products. Then you increase power supply. It will help in pump set, right? Also processing food. Then you have helps in sustainable agriculture. Capital ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇದ್ರೆ ಬಂಡವಾಳ, sustainable agriculture ಅಂದ್ರೆ good fertilizers will be put. Essential microorganisms will not be killed. Soil will not be destroyed. It helps in, so if capital is there, advanced technology could be used, right? If capital is there, it will ensure food security, sufficient availability of food. Then you have capital formation idre, that will lead to profit, right? So capital formation in Indian agriculture versus for agriculture. One capital formation in Indian agriculture, then capital formation for agriculture. See, for agriculturally it is a indirect impact. Capital formation for agriculture means what? See, all these things: dams, roads, power. All these are what? Indirect one, right? We are not directly giving capital to farmers. We are indirectly supporting them. That is capital formation for agriculture. For agriculture. Capital formation in Indian agriculture. Andre, from the agricultural products, what is the capital we are getting? What is the profit we are getting? That is the concept between in agriculture and for agriculture. Then 20% of GDP. So, capital formation in Indian agriculture is 20% of our GDP. Sorry, not in agriculture, for agriculture. Agriculture ke whatever we are supporting capital, it is 20% of our GDP. Right? Next, subsidies. We are providing subsidies and budgetary support. Right? That is 20, that comes under 20%. Subsidies, we are providing, right? Electricity subsidy, seed subsidy, fertilizer subsidy. So many subsidies we are providing. So, subsidies and budgetary support. Budgetary support, every year, this PM Kisan is a budgetary support. It comes out of the budget, money. So, budgetary support we are providing. Then, we are providing what? Direct benefit transfer. PM Kisan. The 2000 will directly go to the bank account. That is direct benefit transfer. Then private sector and public sector, both are participating. See, when private sector and public sector both start investing in Indian agriculture, it will lead to crowd-in effect. See, first private and public both should be there in Indian agriculture anta heltare. See, when public sector invests more in agriculture, what happens? It will boost the confidence of private sector. Private sector will also start investing. That is called crowd-in effect. Crowding in the private sector. Crowd out andre government takes all the money. That is crowd out. Government invests the money. That is crowd in. Right? Then you have steps towards capital formation. One, Prime Minister Gram Sadak Yojana. We are forming roads. Building roads, Gram Sadak Yojana, that will lead to capital formation. Then you have Manrega, off-season employment. When there is no agricultural season, employment will be given under Manrega, that will lead to capital formation. Then diversification, various products are grown. So there is diversification in products, right? There is diversification of products. So we are not growing any single, if we diversify the product, it will raise the profit, right? So that is the capital formation will increase. Then agricultural market. If we improve the agricultural market, that will help in capital formation. Bandwala jasti agutte. Then you have water bodies. If we build water bodies, canals, dams, it will lead to capital formation. Yes. Then you have micro area development. Small area we will take and improve the infrastructure there, improve the market there. Then also capital formation will increase. Then you have Pura. Pura means what? Providing urban facilities in rural areas. If you provide urban facilities in rural areas, then capital will increase, capital formation. Then giving fertilizer subsidy, then also capital formation will increase. Because earlier the farmer used to spend on fertilizer. Now if you provide subsidy, that will lead to capital, he will invest in agriculture. Capital formation means what? There is capital which will be invested in agriculture to modernize the agriculture, in order to implement technology, in order to bring machinery, right? So there is what? There is fertilizer subsidy, then biotech. There is biotechnology. That will also lead to capital formation in India. Doubling farmers' income. This is important. Doubling the income which farmers are getting, right? So there is a challenge post 1947. Post 1947, the income was very less in Indian agriculture, right? Post 1947, we started high yield variety seeds, we started MSP, minimum support price. Government procures, right, under minimum support price, that is there. Then we have provided credit, sala kotidivi, sala mannanu ಮಾಡಿದಿವಿ, right? So we have provided credit to agriculture. Then there is green revolution. We have formed green revolution. But now Ashok Dalwai committee says by the end of this year, by the end of 2022, we have to increase double the agricultural income. By end of 2022, we have to double the farmers' income. Ashok Dalwai committee says about it. So he gives 4 pillars in order to double farmers' income. He gives 4 pillars. What are the 4 pillars? One is output and productivity. He says there should be good output in agriculture. Jasti production agbeku. Then productivity should increase. What do you mean by productivity? See, one is more production. But more production anta 1 acre 1 kg akki ಬೆಳೆದ್ರೆ ಏನು ಬಂತು ಸುಖ? More production from the same hectare, same farm, right? That is productivity. ಉತ್ಪಾದಕತೆ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು from the same farm. So increase output and productivity. Then cost effectiveness. Agricultural investment should be cost effective. You should not spend unwisely, use wastefully. Then resources should be efficiently used. Water should be efficiently used. Fertilizer should be efficiently used. Electricity should be efficiently used. Then there should be remunerative price and financial support. Remunerative price and financial support. Andre, whatever the agricultural products that are manufactured, there should be proper price for it. There should be proper financial support for it. Then so these are the pillars of success. So pillars of success, right? So he says output increase ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ we have to increase the output to 291 million ton ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ, metric ton. We have to increase the output to 291 metric ton. That is goal number 1, pillar 1. Then we have, with respect to cost effectiveness, he says soil health card and irrigation and neem coated urea. Soil health card. See, soil health card use madre, you will put required fertilizer, excess fertilizer agalla, then cost will be saved. Yes. Then irrigation, if you give a irrigation, proper cost will be saved, right? So earlier irrigation you had to put tankers, or you have to pay money for the water. If you build irrigation canal or something, cost will be saved. Then you have neem coated urea. Neem coated urea li, what happens? See, urea li, whatever, if you put 1 kg urea, whatever the urea taken up by the soil is very less. Rest will go waste. So neem coated area, lot of percentage of urea will be taken up, right? So that is the concept of neem coated urea. Next you have third pillar. Third pillar only we have increased. That is, third pillar is what? Remunerative price, efficient use. What is efficient use? Market, no, 1 second. The third pillar is remunerative price. Remunerative price ge, we have increased the marketing. We have increased the marketing to provide remunerative price. We have remunerative price and reno. Good price. So APMC we have increased. APMC is there. National Agricultural Market is there in order to provide remunerative price. Then you also have Niti Aayog Model Contract Farming Act. Niti Aayog Model Contract Farming Act is there, that will also provide remunerative pricing. Then you have fourth pillar. Fourth pillar is what? Financial support. Financial support, where all we are providing. Prime Minister Fasal Bima Yojana we are providing, Kisan Yojana we are providing, then we are providing Kisan Mandan. Kisan Mandan is what? Kisan Mandan is separate from Kisan scheme. Kisan Mandan is with respect to insurance, sorry, pension for the farmers. All of these are providing financial support. All of these are providing financial support. Next, you have the concept of agricultural price policy in India. What is the policy of pricing the agriculture in India? Hege the price will be marked in agriculture. So one is, what is the benefit of good price? See, if there is a good price, it will lead to food security, it will lead to good farmer income, it will improve his health, it will lead to more investment, it will lead to technology in my agriculture, it will lead to crop diversification, it will lead to buying more financial products, insurance, pension. So good price sikkadre, it will incentivize more and more production. That is one thing. So MSP, we are providing MSP for 24 crops. 24 crops. It is announced twice in a year. Before Kharif season, before Rabi season. Kharif just before monsoon, Rabi before January, December. Right? Procurement price. See, FCI, who procures the food grains? It is Food Corporation of India. Food Corporation of India procures the food. So that price is called procurement price. What price? The Food Corporation of India is going to give the farmers. It is called procurement price. So why does FCI procures the food grains? One is public distribution system ge, ration shop ke ration kodake. Next, it procures to provide buffer stock. Buffer stock means what? To hold the stock of food grains. To hold the stock of food grains, FCI is going to give what? FCI, Food Corporation of India is going to procure food grains. Next, you have economic cost. See, procurement cost and what is being given to farmer. Economic cost means what? Transportation cost, storage cost, distribution cost, or margin, no? PDS agent will be there, right? The margin provided to PDS agent, that is, comes under the economic cost. Then you have Committee on Agricultural Costs and Prices. Committee on Agricultural Costs and Prices, CACP. So, this committee decides the MSP. CSP is decided. MSP, minimum support price, is decided by this committee, CACP. So, what all does it include? What all criteria it will take into consideration in order to derive at the MSP? One is, it will take into consideration production cost. What is the production cost that will be taken into consideration? Then you have input prices. What are the input prices that will be? What are the prices being paid to the input that will be taken into consideration? Then you have output price parity. Andre, output, that is whatever the agricultural output that is coming. So, parity among the products. Wheat, what is the price? Rice, what is the price? So, comparison of the price. Then it will take into market price. Market price anything that will be taken into consideration. Then it will take into consideration intercrop price parity. What is the difference between various crops? Parity among the various crops. Then it will take into consideration demand and supply. Demand and supply estiде. It is going to take into consideration various factors. Farmers credit, right? Various other costs. It is good. Marketing cost, transportation cost, logistic cost, storage cost. Everything will be taken into consideration by the CACP before announcing the minimum support price. Then what is the criticism of minimum support price? The criticism is, it will lead to cultivation of only rice and wheat. More MSP is given, only growth of rice and wheat is shown. No other products are grown, right? Then you have water. Because of MSP, see, these rice and wheat are grown. Allah. Rice and wheat requires lot of water to be grown, right? So, because of MSP, there is increasing usage of water. Then you have big farmers. See, lot of this MSP is cornered by big farmers. For example, your farm bill, why Punjab and Haryana opposed it? Why did they oppose it? Because they had benefited under MSP. All the benefits of MSP, these Punjab and Haryana farmers will take. That is why they opposed it. Abolition of MSP. Though this government said we won't abolish the MSP. Then food subsidy. Food subsidy. See, this because of MSP. MSP is what? MSP is like providing subsidy to food, right? PDS, public distribution system, we are providing subsidized food. We are providing food at a subsidized price, right? So food subsidy is impacted by MSP, and also food habits, right? Since these are available cheaply because of MSP, more and more people will focus on this. They won't focus on pulses and various other nutrition, right? Food habits will be decided by MSP, right? So this is the concept of MSP. Tomorrow we will discuss some schemes, right? So please make good use of the classes. If you have any doubts, please put it in the comment box. We will try to address all of these. If you have any doubts, please get in touch with us with respect in the Telegram channel Virat VHS Education Forum, VHS space Education space Forum in Telegram application. You can ask any queries. So please take care of your health. We will meet again tomorrow. Take care. Namaste. Jai Hind.